Okay, guys, more nuts. Nuts for the home garden. Included here are only the nut trees that home gardeners usually grow. The planting zones listed indicate the areas where the trees appear to do best and are most widely grown, although they may succeed in other zones under the right conditions. Black walnuts, which I probably will not grow because I don't want them to kill all our pine trees. Zones 4 to 8. The native black walnut grows well throughout most of zones 5 through 8, and hardier strains survive in zones 3 and 4. Most cultivars have nuts that crack more easily and have larger and better flavored meats than the wild kinds, but the trees are less hardy. Not everyone cares for the black walnut's unusual flavor, but its fans used to use it to flavor cakes. Ice cream, and other desserts. In addition to the different strains of seedlings that vary widely across the country, the following cultivars are among those being sold by nurseries: Bowser, Cornell, Elmer Myers, Emma Kay, Quick Crop, Stark, Ohio, Patterson, Ridgway, Snyder, Sparrow, Stabler, Stambaugh, Thomas Black, Thomas Myers, Vendersloot, Victoria, and Weschk. Patterson, and Weschk are among the most hardy. That's hard to pronounce. Weschke. Alright. Butternut. Zones 3 to 7. Like dried corn, beans, and smoked meat, butternuts were one of the staple foods that helped the Iroquois Indians live well through the hard northern winters. The early settlers soon learned to store and use them too, and they have been a winter treat in the Northeast ever since. The butternut is one of the hardiest nut trees, and its oily meat is one of the most flavorful nuts. New hybrids and selections of native trees produce nuts that are larger and easier to crack than the wild ones. Even the wild ones crack easily if you pour boiling water over them. Let them stand for 15 minutes and then drain. With one easy hammer blow, you can then pop apart the halves intact. Butternut blooms are easily damaged in late spring frosts. And even if they are not harmed, the trees are likely to bear abundantly 1 year and then take a few years off. Luckily for butternut lovers, the nuts store well. Some improved varieties are now being sold: Ayers, Bountiful, Stark, Chamberlain, Chambers, Corner, Craxezy, Craxezy, Crichton, George Elmer, Kenworthy, Mitchell, Van Sickle, and Weschk. That weird one again. Ayers has very large nuts. Mitchell begins to bear at an early age. Chamberlain and George Elmer are among the most hardy. The butternut tree, a cross between the Japanese heartnut and the butternut, or the Buarnut tree, Buartnut. A cross between the Japanese heartnut and the butternut combines the hardiness and good flavor of the latter with the easy cracking, high yields, and disease resistance of the former. Several hybrids are now on the market. Among them are Cobal's No. 1, Corson, Denoka, Fioka, Hopkins, and Wallach. The chestnut family. Zones 5 to 9. The American chestnut was an important part of North American colonial life. Its lumber was greatly prized for paneling and for export to Europe. During cold winter nights, the nuts popped in many a colonial fireplace, and holidays were never complete without chestnut dressing for the turkey or goose. In New England, that felt weird. Anyway. In New England, there is still a belief that a blacksmith shop should stand under a spreading chestnut tree. When the blight of the early 1900s wiped out nearly every chestnut tree, a search began for blight-resistant varieties. Trees were introduced from China, Japan, Manchuria, and Spain, and some were successfully crossed with a few remaining American species. Many of the resulting new hybrids are now producing quality nuts in American backyards. The Chinese chestnut is frequently sold in nurseries and garden centers. It is less hardy than most peaches, however, and the grafted cultivars appear to be even less hardy than the seedling trees. As with a peach tree, you must fertilize them carefully when the trees are young, and they will grow too rapidly and get winter injury. Many chestnut cultivars available today are improved Oriental species. Others are hybrids of the Oriental and American species. Among them are Crane, Douglas, Dunstan, Eaton, Heritage, Layeroka, Meter, Myling, Myoka, Nanking, Revival, Skookum, and Willamette. Weird names. Oh gosh, my ankle hurts. Filbert and Hazelnut. Sorry, my ankle hurts. Probably because I switched the way I was sitting. Sorry, guys. Alright. Hazelnut, yeah. I definitely want to go with some hazelnut trees. The round filbert is familiar to everyone who has ever bought a bag of mixed nuts for the holidays. It is a native of southern Europe, originating probably in Italy. Most of North America's commercial filbert production is in the Pacific Northwest, with Barcelona, Daviana, and Ducali the leading cultivars. They seldom do well in the rest of the continent, however. Alright, wait. Pacific Northwest. Okay. I don't know. An American cousin of the filbert, the hazelnut, grows wild in hedgerows all over the northern United States and southern Canada. The small nuts are favorites of chipmunks and squirrels. Filbert trees have an advantage of maturing to a size that fits well into most home landscapes. The trees grow from 10 to 15 feet tall and are about the size of semi-dwarf apple trees. Plant them about 20 feet apart. Unlike most other nut trees, they don't have a long taproot, so they are easy to transplant. Soils suitable for fruit trees usually suit the filbert too, but fertilize it only lightly so it doesn't grow too fast. Filbert trees root easily from layers and root suckers, so even cultivars are seldom grafted. If you buy a tree, you may want to propagate it in this way to increase your plantings. The following European filberts are worth a trial in zones 6 to 8. Butler, Cassina, Contorted, Daviana, Duchley, Ennis, Hall's Giant, and Royal. Many catalogs list cultivars of the American filbert, or hazelnut, that are hardy in zones 4 to 7, although they have smaller nuts than the European cousins. Walter and Winkler are two improved cultivars. Some crosses have been made between the European filbert and the hardy wild American hazelnut. These filazelles are hardy in zones 5 to 8 and include Gelatly, Minnesota F2, Peace River Cross, and the Fred Ashworth crosses, which are reputed to be among the hardiest. The round filbert is familiar to everyone who... Hickory and pecan. Alright, so I'm pretty sure... I know I want to do hickory nut trees. I want to try to do these hazelnut trees, and I will probably go with these crosses and try to see if I can get a couple of those for the hazelnut. I don't know if I'm going to do the chestnut or not. I'm definitely not doing black walnut or the butternut. Okay, no, there's walnut. I didn't know there were okay. I'm learning things here too. Hickory and pecan. I definitely want to do the hickory and pecan trees too. Zones 5 to 9. So our zone is covered, which is 7A. As the botanical name shows, hickories and pecans are closely related, even though they grow in different climatic zones. The relationship, however, has permitted some worthwhile hybrids among them to be developed. Of the two, hickory trees are hardy over a wider area, from zones 5 to 8. Although they are seldom offered commercially, they are much enjoyed by those lucky enough to live in the same habitat. The shagbark hickory, the best of dozens of native hickories, has the disadvantage of a very tough shell and a small meat that usually breaks in cracking. Many new cultivars, which are selections of these wild trees, are now available. These bear nuts at a younger age, and the nuts are larger and easier to crack. The hardiness of the new kinds isn't always known for sure, however, and thus far not many are being grafted and offered for sale. Davis, Granger, Nielsen, Porter, Washek, Wilcox are some that are available. Shellbark hickory cultivars are slightly less hardy than shagbarks. They include Abundance, Anderson, Eureka, Henry, Kaskaskia, Missouri Mammoth, and Richmond Furnace. Pecans need a long season to develop their nuts, so the trees are limited mostly to the southeastern United States and Mexico. Unlike most other North American trees, the pecan has been cultivated commercially for many years. Pecans keep only for a few months in ordinary storage, but store well for a year or more at temperatures below freezing. Some pecan cultivars currently being grown are Apache, Barton, Cape Fear, Choctaw. Interesting. I might have to look into that one, huh? Especially since we live in like the Choctaw Nation area. Pretty cool, huh? Major Missouri, Nutcracker, Pawnee, Rocket 800, Schley, Sioux, Starking, Hardy Giant, Stewart, and Surecrop. Paper shell pecans include Cheyenne, Mohawk, Karuk, Schley, and Stewart. In an effort to combine the flavor of pecans with the hardiness of hickories, horticulturists have created hybrid hicans. Among them are Burlington, Burton, Girardi, Henke, Henke, Jackson, Pleas, and Underwood. All can be grown farther north than pecans, but the different cultivars are very widely in hardiness. Definitely want to do pecan trees, hickory nut trees, like 2 of each. Just 2, no more. Hickory nuts, pecans, and hazelnuts. Alright. Now this is a regular walnut tree. And I might look into this one and see if it's dangerous to pine trees, because if it is, I won't bother. Sorry. Alright. The regular walnut tree. Juglans regia. Or regia, whatever. Zones 5 to 8. Persian walnuts are often called English walnuts because they have been grown in Great Britain for centuries. My throat is all weird, my sinuses. They were considered far too tender for all of North America except the warm regions of the West Coast until a missionary, Reverend Paul Kraft, discovered a strain growing wild in the cold mountains of Poland. He brought several thousand seeds to Ontario in the 1930s and found they grew well there. They succeeded so well, in fact, that within only a few years, the Carpathian strain he introduced was being grown in zones 5 and 6, and hardier strains will survive in favored parts of zone 4. Walnuts are without doubt the most popular of all nuts, both to eat out of the shell and to enjoy in countless appetizing desserts. Unfortunately, a few people get canker sores in their mouths from eating walnuts and have to sacrifice a real delicacy. Perhaps a variety without the unpleasant side effect will someday be developed, so all of us can enjoy this delicious nut. Persian walnuts suitable for zones 7 and 8 include these cultivars: Champion, Kentucky Giant, Quick Crop Stark, Lockport, Sir, S-E-R-R, Spurgeon, Sunland, and Super. In California, Franket and Hartley are widely grown commercially. Most nurseries offer only seedling trees of the Carpathian walnut, but those that specialize in nut trees have some good cultivars available. Some of these are Ambassador, Ashworth, one of the hardiest, Broadview, Chopaka, Fately, Gurney, Hanson, Lake, McKinster, Russian, and Summers. And that was it for the nut trees. Anyway, I definitely want to get a couple of hazelnut trees, a couple of hickory nut trees, and a couple of pecan trees. So, definitely want to do that, and I might plant them well away from the other fruit trees. So, anyway, and that ends that chapter, and we're on chapter 3. I might do some more tonight. I mean, I don't know. I might do some more. Maybe. Maybe not. I don't know. But we're on chapter 3, which is easy fragrant herbs. And we are real close to halfway through this book. I mean, real close to halfway through it. So, anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and get this up there. And I will see you guys either on the next video tonight or tomorrow. And I will see you guys in a while. Bye, guys.